7 News' Christine Scarpelli live for us this morning in Rutherfordton. She's with a mental health expert talking about the best ways to make sure everyone is feeling safe. Hey, Christine, good morning.
I think so, absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to sort of include everybody as you go back to restaurants, as you go back to your business, your workplace, making sure everybody feels comfortable. It's tough to do, especially if you're a boss or maybe you're in charge of several people. We are here talking to Travis Smith this morning, Blue Ridge Hope. We're up in Rutherfordton, North Carolina. And, Travis, starting off, we've been talking about how this is a feeling that it's not just isolated to person. Really, this is an over-encompassing event that impacts everyone individually, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is an event that has happened in our country that is, as we said before, it's impacted everything. There's not one institution that hasn't had some type of repercussion, whether that be from a large scale or even down to a very small personal scale in our homes. All of us have had to deal with the stress of the pandemic that we're experiencing.
So you say stress, but also anxiety is something that comes into play there. And many people don't know that this is different.
Absolutely, yeah. We can experience stress. All of us experience stress. I used the example of if I had something due at 12 noon today that I forgot about and I have to start, then I'm going to feel some stress. But when that changes to some physical reactions, such as short of breath, maybe I begin to sweat, maybe I just feel jittery, that can then begin to show signs of anxiety. So stress can definitely induce anxiety. It doesn't always, though. It depends on what level.
Keeping in mind that if you're a boss, if you're even just asking someone out to lunch, that person you're asking, if you are not experiencing that, they could be.
Absolutely.
Give me the best way to make sure that you check in with another person. Is it okay to ask if they're comfortable?
Should you? Yes. I think the answer is definitely yes.
How do you do that?
The thing about that is always show respect. I think as long as we lead with love and kindness and respect, then we can't go wrong. So, for example, if we go and invite a coworker to lunch and we're not sure how they feel about that, maybe it would be a great time to say, I know everything has changed. How do you feel about going into an establishment to eat? Would that be something you're comfortable with? If not, maybe we can just talk later via Zoom or whatever the situation is that might be allowed you to connect.
Options. There you go, guys. That's one of the main things this morning. We've got BlueRidgeHope.org. These guys you can schedule an appointment with virtually or in person, and they do not discriminate based on your ability to pay. So just one plus there. Put it at WSPA.com. Back to you.
All right, these are important things to talk about, Christine. Thank you so much, and we'll check back in with you in about 30 minutes. More Carolina Morning right after this. Stay with us.
Christine Scarpelli is live in Rutherfordton this morning with some expert advice. Hi, Christine.
Good morning. Yes, certainly. We are not the experts in this, and we're dealing with a time that many people, or no one's really comfortable with. Do you go back to meeting with people at restaurants and eating inside? Do you eat outside? Do you talk via Zoom call? Do you go back to work? If you don't feel comfortable, how do you express that? All of these questions we've been grilling Travis Smith here. Blue Ridge Hope. We're proud to be able to ask you questions because you feel it's something everyone should feel comfortable doing.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the key is, we said this a little bit before, is respect for each other. And just know that most of us are doing the best we can. So really listen to that, what's coming from somebody else, because it really is the truth of where we are.
Very good. Okay, in that sense, we talk about comfort levels. We talk about hugging and handshakes and elbow taps. And if you weren't comfortable hugging before, now you're in a
whole different level.
Right. So do you ask? Do you approach? How do you deal with that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think even before this, it's a good idea to ask about hugging. Are you a hugger? Or is that something you're comfortable with? Because, we can go into all the reasons why that might not be a good idea for somebody.
What are a couple of those?
Well, obviously, if somebody maybe had some type of trauma in their life, if it a sexual assault or something like that, it can oftentimes trigger that feeling of not being able to escape or feel closed in. So sometimes just asking, ask that experience of someone, but it might be asking, where's your comfort level with that? Now we're at a very different place where it's not safe necessarily to do that.
Good point.
So sometimes just if we see somebody going in for the handshake and we're not comfortable with that, if you are, then go for it. I think you can do that right now if you choose to. But if you're not comfortable with it, maybe smile, might put the elbow out, and just kind of give a little bit of a joking side to that, and be a different way of handling an awkward situation. Because humor can deflect.
Humor and all of just like putting somebody in another person's perspective. blueridgehope.org. They are happy taking appointments now, virtually and in person. Back to you.
Christine, thank you.
Let's check in with 7 News' Christine Scarpelli. She's live in Rutherford today with a health expert to talk about the best ways to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. Christine?
I do. I think you have to just consider others. That's what I'm learning this morning. And man, I feel like I'm being a little dissected. I love it. I think this is great. We get to the core and focusing on not just me, others as well, the respect level. And now we've got Allison Smith here. We're at Blue Ridge Hope. So I think health, you take into consideration as you coach your clients. If they're feeling stress, if they're feeling anxiety, obviously you want to speak to someone, but there are some other things. Physical exercise, a good example, right? You can do to reduce that.
Absolutely. Physical exercise definitely has been proven to reduce stress, and it doesn't, you don't have to think you have to go and do, 2 hours of walking on a treadmill to make it, work for you or whatever. Even just simple things, going for a walk to the mailbox. I think it was a Harvard study that showed even just women over 60, even just 4,400 steps is beneficial.
Which sounds like a lot, though. But is it?
Well, no, it's really not. I mean, some of this, we've been told we have to have 10,000 steps. But even just 4,400, it's something. It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. I'm telling you, yeah, absolutely. And, things like checking in with another person as well. Maybe if they can't go for a run with you, if they don't want to do that, there are other ways to make sure they feel comfortable or kind of accompany them. If they will go with a walk with you, but they're not sure if you're going to be safe in distance.
Well, sure. You can social distance walk and have a phone call while you're walking. And then there's tons of things online. A lot of trainers and yoga teachers are offering classes online that you can access. So a lot of them for free.
Yes.
They're putting it out there. They want people to still be able to get their needs met or try something new.
I think that's a big thing. Try it. Try it. Something new. It doesn't have to become your new routine, but just give it a try. BlueRidgeHope.org. It's on the screen here. You guys taking clients, not based on whether you can afford or not. You're making plenty of exceptions to be able to cater to people both virtually and in person. We are here in Rutherford, and so again, if you can't get up here, Travis, your husband said he was seeing people in different states even. So very good, guys. We're going to have much more after this. And then just head to our website if you would like all of this right at your fingertips.
All right, thanks so much, Christine.
With some expert advice. Hi, Christine.
Yeah, or maybe just consider others. Give me 6 feet in the grocery store, right? Travis Smith here, Blue Ridge Hope, assassin it up. There are people with different comfort levels when it comes to going back to work, maybe being in line at a restaurant, eating in or outside. Important not just to focus on you, right? Travis, you are a counselor dealing with clients every day. What maybe advice can you offer as things begin to open up and some people more comfortable than others?
That's exactly right. So I would think just to really be comfortable at your own pace of this. So if you are not comfortable going out, don't. If you're not comfortable maybe going to a medical office or a counselor's office, look for telehealth options. There are so many, and that is one thing that's happened since COVID is we have these telehealth options. Almost all physicians, counselors will offer that to you. You can do it straight from your home, but still get your needs met.
You're saying we shouldn't neglect our mental and medical health?
That is exactly what I'm saying. I know, it's shocking, right?
It's an easy thing to do, though.
It's such an easy thing to do. So I'd say let's remove that excuse when it comes to location. Yeah, you can now do telehealth with almost any office. And I would encourage you to call your physician or your mental health provider if you already have that relationship and see if they offer telehealth.
Very good. Have you seen equal results? I know you're meeting with a lot of people, but I would say I don't know if I could connect with somebody like I can in person.
That's a great question. About 98% of my clients say that it's exactly the same.
And you've seen a lot of.
Absolutely, yeah. I've seen, I've had so many of my clients that were coming in face to face. We had to switch to telehealth, and they're telling me that really it's great. I've only had just a couple of clients or so that say it's not the same. 98% are saying, hey, it's really just as good for them.
Very good. Travis also saying, make sure to ask. It's just communication is the key. If you don't want a bear hug, then you don't have to just sit there and take it, right?
Yeah, just
good. Yeah, communication is key, guys. BlueRidgeHope.org. Here you go. They got plenty of services. Again, you've got that booking appointment. You can do it online. And these guys on a sliding scale for sure.
With 7 News' Christine Scarpelli with a mental health expert about the best ways to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. An important conversation, Christine.
I think so, yeah, even if it's just addressing that comfort level, maybe checking in with the other person. How do you feel about something like a hug? We've got Allison here this morning, certified health coach. Also talking, with your husband, a counselor here at Blue Ridge Hope. You guys making counseling or even just talking to someone very accessible. So that is something we appreciate right off the bat. But, things are going to look different. Going back to a restaurant and eating with somebody, going into work, a business meeting, even a handshake is going to look different. You say it's really about self-care in many ways, caring for yourself both with primary and secondary food. Tell me about this.
Yes, so primary food is actually more important than secondary food, but it's not the food you put in your mouth. So your primary food is your relationships, your career, your spirituality, your connections to community, where secondary food is actually the traditional food we think about.
Wow, you're saying even you can be healthier if you have maybe a little bit of not so healthy food in your life, but your relationships are healthier, you have less stress. How do you get to a point of health?
So I really think that stress management, particularly in this time, is really huge. And simple things, even going outside into the sunshine for 5 minutes, boosts your immunity and your mood. Sunshine, if 5 minutes is all you need.
Wow. Something like that can help when you are dealing with people at a workplace, maybe going to a restaurant. How do you check in with somebody else? How do you make sure that maybe they're not uncomfortable? Is it important to even consider someone else?
Oh, 100%. It's just communication and being real and asking, just being straight out sometimes I think is the best way to approach those things. Just, are you okay with this? How do you feel? They're going to tell you.
Wow. So it is important. It may seem really simple and straightforward, and but a lot of people just don't have that communication. Even a little laughter and humor can go a long way. Just watching us in the morning. Blue Ridge Hope is available for any session, virtual or as
Ross, open back up. Many are feeling different levels of comfort when it comes to interacting with people and getting back to normal life. 7 News' Christine Scarpelli is in Rutherford with the importance of understanding and respecting other people's boundaries.
Yeah, mental health, physical health, going out to dinner with somebody, going back to work. Many people have different levels of comfort when it comes to returning to a kind of new normal with our Travis Smith here, right? I know you're sympathetically looking at me, but that's what it is.
It really is a new normal. And normal is so hard to figure out, even in normal times.
Yes.
It's such an interesting way I'm saying that. But it's so hard to figure out what is normal, even when conditions are a little more optimal. But here we are in this world that we're living in when the pandemic is happening. People are fearful, obviously, for good reason, and there's a lot of concern. And I think that's just something I really would love to see us all respect each other a lot more, even if we disagree on certain subjects, being sensitive to each other's needs in a way that we don't respond with visceral anger and frustration, but try to take a step back and be sensitive.
Give me a concrete example. I love talking about things like getting angry in the grocery line, give me 6 feet. I don't want to go out to dinner and eat inside, can we eat outside? How do you feel? Respectfully.
Yeah, it's a great example. And I think that's one of the things, if we feel somebody encroaching on that space, first thing I would do is take my steps back. It's amazing sometimes even people pick up on social cues. If they don't, just say, I'm not real comfortable right now being close together. Just because of my concerns. And you can even say it may be because you have a family member that's a vulnerable population. Just be really honest about that. And I would encourage that other person who may not feel that way to respect that, to understand that you are doing the best you can do by keeping that 6 feet. You're doing the best you can do by saying you don't want to go out right now because you have good reason for that. And maybe they don't feel that way, and that's okay. But just respect you.
Taking the next step for sure. If you are feeling stressed or a bit of anxiety, definitely talking to someone, Travis says, is the best way to go about this. At Blue Ridge Hope, even.org, what you're looking at right now, you can speak to someone. They consider your income when you do this and book an appointment. Super easy to do right there. But whether you go see the doctor in person or do it virtually, Travis says that both can really help you as you kind of navigate this time. Guys, all of this info at WSPA.com. I'll send it back to you.